Hi, my name is Jesse.
And I'm Malcolm. I get high randomly, and yeah.
Oh shit, I think he's dead. Oh fuck. I can't record for shit.
Hi.
Hi. So.
Hi.
So.
Hi.
So.
Hi.
You know,
That's what it's all about, baby.
I think I'm high. Hi. Bye.
Peace to the Middle East.
Bye.
Yeah.